Hey, I've got a question. If there's pretty obviously no gas attendant or anyone out at the pumps, why would you ever pull up to some of the pumps that are the furthest from the store, get out of your car, and then wait for me to walk to you? When, I mean, you could at least swipe your card or do something, right? I guess not, though. I mean, yes, it's my job to come pump your gas, but it's a little odd that you don't even try to pull up anywhere near the store or near a gas attendant or whatever, because obviously we're slow enough that usually no one is waiting out here at the pumps. Usually we only start waiting out here at the pumps when it starts getting busy. So yeah, no one usually is waiting out here. So when like this old man just got out, he pulled up at the farthest pump away, got out, stood outside his car waiting with his card in his hand for someone to come help him, and it's like, you have to wait a moment, you know? And he seemed annoyed, but it's like, you're the one that pulled up so far away. Like, I don't know why you thought it was going to be more convenient to be over there, but whatever. You want to know an interesting fact I've learned from working as a fuel attendant? The fact that most people are so oblivious to their surroundings and the situation they're in, to their environment just in general, that even when the receipt prints out automatically on every pump except one, and it prints out of the pump, and I tell people that too, especially if I do have to walk away or if I'm not going to be able to stay with them while I give them the receipt, right? And this old woman the other day, she didn't realize that her receipt printed out at the pump, even though it's pretty obvious that it did. Anyway, for some people, I think it's genuine confusion as to why they can't find the receipt. But for some people, it honestly kind of seems like they just really expect you, the fuel attendant, to be the person that brings them that receipt, no matter what, no matter where it was from, even if it's 2 feet away from them. And some of these people can practically reach out of their car windows and grab it. Like, it's a little odd, but like some people will just do that though. They'll essentially track me down if I'm out helping someone else at the other end of the pumps. Like if someone on 1 needs a receipt and I'm helping someone on 14, you know, they'll walk all the way over there. And like this one woman did the other day, or like this one gentleman, they'll just be like, where's my receipt? I can't find my receipt. Where's my receipt? Do you have my receipt? And I always just tell them, you know, especially if I'm helping someone else. At the time, I go show it to them if I don't have anyone else to help. But if I'm pumping fuel for someone else, then usually I just say, oh, it should have printed out at the pump. And then sometimes they find it, and sometimes they still don't find it. So even when I point out the location of the receipt, not everyone finds it. Even though it prints out at the pump, like there's only one receipt that prints out inside. And so it's interesting to me that a lot of people can't realize that this white receipt has printed out against a black background. Like, because that's the color of our pumps. Our pumps, I mean, if you can kind of see them at all, I mean, they're black. They're black, and so when the receipt prints out, it should print out white, right? But anyway, a lot of people just either are too lazy to notice it, or they're just too oblivious or whatnot. Definitely though, some people just feel like they feel entitled to having the receipt handed to them. Just like a gentleman that did from Texas or somewhere a long time ago, and he was super upset at me that I wouldn't come physically pull the receipt out from the pump and hand it to him, even though he was standing right next to the receipt and I had other people to help. Stuff like that frustrates me. But if you legitimately just can't find it, yeah, I'll help you out. But at the same time, I think it's a good lesson that people should maybe pay attention to their surroundings a bit more often. Because you should probably be able to see the receipt that prints out when you pump your gas, you know? So, I've worked here, I don't know, over a year at least, right? And I think that the main thing I've learned from working here is that people get very upset when things do not go exactly the way they want them to or the way that they've gone before in the past. And I mean, and that's understandable, right? If you go somewhere and you run your card and your card doesn't work there like it did the last couple times you were there, you're gonna be kind of pissed, obviously. So that's why I wasn't upset at this guy that much when he came in, because he's I mean, it's just one of those things though where you still obviously have to understand that things may change, or you know, maybe something expired or just whatever, right? Like obviously you had to be willing to accept change, which I was glad that this guy was able to. He didn't get mad at me, which was nice. But he definitely was frustrated. You could tell he was frustrated right at first because this gentleman's card did not work out of the pumps. And so his response when I told him he was going to have to go inside to run his card, because it said, please see cashier. Because that's what it says. Please see the cashier if the card doesn't work out here. So you'll have to try running it inside, and then sometimes, even when you try running it inside, it doesn't always work. And then, that happens, and then I'm waiting out there, and they're like, oh, didn't work, so I just gotta go somewhere else. Like, that's what happens sometimes, and that's all right. But this gentleman, though, we tried to run his card, and I told him that he was gonna have to go inside, and he was like, well, what's wrong with it? He's like, it's a regular card. I've used it here like a million times. And so I just looked at him and I said, I understand that, sir. There's not anything else I can tell you. That's all I can tell you. And then after that, he was fairly respectful, and he went inside. So like, he had a little bit of a frustrated spat, but like, it wasn't that bad. And then at the end, he still thanked me and was like, oh, have a great day and all that. Like, he seemed genuine, so I appreciated that. Like, he wasn't being a dick to me for the most part. But yeah, I just noticed that it's just something that, like, clearly people get very upset or perturbed when things aren't going to go their way, or that they don't work out the same way that they have in the past. Because, like, I don't know, who knows how often this guy's coming in here, because he must not come in as often as he likes to say he has, because the porta potty has been removed from my work for a couple weeks now, because we had a porta potty in place because we were doing construction on the bathrooms inside. And now that's done, we do not need to spend $600 a month on a porta potty. So we do not have a porta potty on the side of the building anymore. However, this gentleman, when he came back outside and was waiting for his truck to finish filling up, he walked over to the side of the building, clearly looking for the porta potty, because he was looking around, and then he went inside, and I saw him go to the restroom inside, because you can see inside fairly well. And so I saw him go inside and use the restroom. So obviously he hasn't been here in a couple weeks, so like, he probably isn't getting gas here as often as he likes to think he is. So he may not realize that, his card expired, or like maybe something in our system changed or whatnot. Now, I don't even know why his card wouldn't necessarily work if he was here a couple weeks ago. Like, I don't understand that either, but I can understand the frustration that someone would have if they were to come into a gas station that they go to fairly often, and then all of a sudden their card doesn't work out at the pumps. However, that's pretty par for the course out here. I mean, there's a lot of cards that don't work out here, whether it's just your strip doesn't work or whatnot. Like, there's just reasons. I mean, I even think that sometimes it's just the type of card. Like, I know that we pretty much, without fail, will accept American Express, and so I imagine there are probably some cards that we don't accept as readily, and you probably have to go inside to run those. But yeah, I don't know. Like, sometimes it's definitely sometimes though it's about the strip, because we do not use a chip reader out here at the pump. So it may also just be the fact that the strip on his card could have worn off. But regardless, not to go on too long of a rant, I was just appreciated the fact that this guy was fairly respectful to me, especially after he got upset about the fact he couldn't use his card. And from what I understand, he was respectful to my coworker inside, and so. I mean, obviously a little bit of frustration isn't that bad. I mean, and as a psychology student, it was just interesting to watch that happen, because I understand that if it were me, I would probably be kind of upset or frustrated. I maybe wouldn't try to take it out initially on the person out at the pumps, as because obviously when he's telling me it's a regular card and I should try running it again, like, I'm not going to be able to do anything. I'm just going to run it again, and it's going to say the same thing. So, like, it has nothing to do with me, It's obviously has something to do with the machine or your card. I'm just letting you know that it's not working out at the pumps. So, at least it could have been worse. There's been people that have been way worse about that. Some people won't even go inside once that happens. They'll be like, well, I'm going somewhere else then. It's the same thing with cash, Some people just don't want to go inside. Some people just don't want to go inside, and going inside just seems like the worst thing in the world to them for some reason. But it's fine. I mean, I just thought it was a little odd, though, that this guy, I guess, on a final note, I thought it was a little odd this guy was upset at all right at first, because he was going inside. He went inside and he bought, like, a little snack and a drink or something. So, like, he was already going inside. It wasn't that big of a deal for him to go inside and pay for his gas, right? And clearly it wasn't, because he didn't get mad at me. He thanked me, he told me have a good day. Like, he seemed nice about it. So all's well that ends well, right? But it was just a little interesting, like, thought I had about that, though. That for sure, I definitely think the reason people mostly get upset out here is because they're not used to things changing, or not used to things going exactly the way they plan them to. And I think that for a lot of people, that creates a little bit of psychological distress initially. But hey, kudos to this guy for handling it well. I think that for the most part, he handled it fairly well, knowing that he couldn't use his card out of the pump. So props to that guy.